Welcome back to eduStreamTV. 3 days of video education for educators. We're teaching educators all about the video technology we sell. And today we're really excited. We have Judy from Kiloview coming in all the way from China. Hey, Judy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Gary?
All right, so today's topic, from classrooms to campuses, revolutionizing education with Kiloview AV over IP solutions. What I want to stress here is that a lot of people, I think of Kiloview as a decoder encoder company who makes these boxes, but really you've grown into something that's much, much bigger and beautiful, and that you really are a whole AV over IP. I'm going to say like your architects, you're beyond leaders at this point. You're actually designing the future. So let's start the show by giving you a few seconds to just tell us a little bit about Kiloview for those people who are new to EduStream, new to NDI, new to AV over IP, new to video technology.
Yeah, sure. So exactly as you mentioned, a lot of our customers know Kiloview from our encoders, decoders, and specifically NDI. But right now, not only those kind of boxes or converters, we are now a kind of solution provider. So Kiloview actually provide a full series of product solutions covering from hardware to software. Not only in just NDI, but also we have SRT, RTMP, RTSP for live production, remote production, live streaming, remote streaming, and also all those kind of product solutions together. And also we have not just the converters, but also we have routing systems, recording systems, and most importantly, we have a kind of a platform that can centralizely manage everything to bring all those products into a kind of ecosystem that can, exactly fits into different vertical markets, including education.
And I want to say AV over IP is something that's been coming on for the last few years. You know, we were all ahead of the curve with NDI, and you participated in our NDI November shows and done great stuff. But you guys are taking this a little bit further. You're going beyond devices to integrated, scalable workflows. And I really want to stress that because as a school, it's easy to put a decoder and encoder in one classroom or two. But when you're going to do AV over IP throughout, let's say, your entire high school, or maybe you're a college campus with multiple buildings, or maybe you're a college, state college that's got multiple schools within the college, you want to link them all together and share resources with video. This is the magic of what AV over IP is. And I really want to use that term for educators because you're not running the old baseband wires that whatever you connect is the only things that are connected. Everything that's AV over IP has access to everything else. So not only is it important to have the right devices, and I always talk about Kiloview, your stuff just works. Plug it in, it just works. I love that about your stuff. But you're actually now providing like the control and the operational level for that. So let's jump into that a little bit because I think it's so important. But let's remind people what NDI is first. So I want to bring this slide up full, and you just talk a little bit about NDI versus traditional AV, and then we're going to get into the AV over IP workflows.
Yeah, so remind everyone about NDI. So everyone know NDI because of the high image quality, low latency, interoperability, plug and play with a kind of, a very mature ecosystem that right now we have a lot of software, a software-defined solution. So a lot of software already support NDI that can help our customers in education industry that can easily expand no matter you are just looking for small system or if you are looking for a very professional system. So there will be a lot of options. And as we are talking about NDI, we know NDI started from the local network, and I think for education industry, for schools, normally it will be in local network, but of course, right now NDI has NDI bridge functions. Easily, we can get NDI is scalable for different kind of, we say different size of either production, transmission, internal information display, and all those kind of things. So give a lot of flexibility while also everyone know NDI is easy to start. It's very cost effective. So that's what we are talking about. So why NDI in education?
And Judy, the next slide is real important. It's campus-wide broadcast studio, and it's really talking about how your products and your tools can link everything together. But before we do that, I got to put a little plug here, and that is if you're going to go with AV over IP, you have to get the right switch. And right now, the Netgear Pro AV switches are our #1 NDI solution. They work. Yes, you can use other switches that are much more expensive switches, but then you need IT people who understand those switches. There's a lot of settings that have to happen. With a Netgear Pro AV switch, you could just set it. It's graphical. They have a great graphical interface called Engage that lets you select them. You can do NDI, you can do Dante, you can do what SRT. You can break up your network any way you want. And I want to stress for educators that I know one of the scary things for them is having all this video over all their network. They think it's going to bring their network down. And if you configure it correctly with the right switch, you can protect all the data and all the other stuff you want to have from interfering with the video and vice versa. So it's one of those things that is not scary. There are solutions for it. And one of the best solutions going is your Kiloview workflow. So let's jump into what this slide is, because you've got a lot going on here. So if we can bring this up full screen and let Judy really go over what this scalable workflow is.
So yeah, sure. So exactly as you were mentioning, Netgear switch, all the Kiloview products can also easily be compatible with the network switch. We have tested with each other, and it's just plug and play. And for this workflow, actually, we know for the campus, especially, I have to say in the US or in North America campus, there are a lot of different kinds of events, sports, or whatever. So normally we would like to say for those kind of events or sports, we would look forward to high quality live streaming or live production, and we can share to as many or the audiences as possible. So what we are talking here is, using NDI, we will be able to easily connect either is just a kind of on-field video going through some of our products like the Kiloview P series, going through our Kilolink server, we can output NDI directly, or if it's just in the stadiums that you can easily get the cameras connecting to a NDI converter, then everything can be connected to NDI. And, we have those kind of systems that can centralizedly manage all the NDI video sources, or if it's just directly from a classroom or from anywhere that you want to get into the production system using a PDC camera. Right now all the PDC cameras can output NDI, almost all the PDC cameras. So getting all the NDI sources together using a kind of centralized management platform that can easily control all the devices, checking the status, while also having a kind of controller that can easily control routing the NDI sources to different destinations, either getting into a kind of traditional, even for the studios, you already have the traditional SDI or the baseband production systems. Getting a kind of a converter, getting back to SDI, fits into the production system, you can get it go. Or if you have a kind of existing NDI production systems, you can bring all those NDI signals into the production systems like the VSRT, Trackcasters, or your vMix or whatever. Then you can do the professional production. And also, if you just want to show all those kind of signals in the classroom for the displays, then you can easily get a decoder and getting back to HDMI or whatever, showing on the displays, then there will be a kind of ecosystem, and it will be very flexible. And if you want to get the signals broadcasting on the network for Facebook, YouTube, for live streaming, or if you want to remotely transmit all those signals to any of your like the other campus or whatever, then using another like our media gateway product or kind of NDI encoders or the SRT encoders, doing the live streaming or remote transmission, everything can be so flexible and easy to manage. So there will be a lot of different options for the campus, for the education, for the administrators to manage all those signals, and there will be a lot. Using NDI, then it will be so easy, and also we say it can offer a lot of possibilities based on what you need and based on what's those kind of productions look like.
Yeah, and you know, on this slide, I want to make a few comments. Number one is we got to add another video source, cellular bonded through the P3, because that's really cool that you guys have cellular bonding that goes straight into NDI with the P3 family of products. And you know, if you're a college campus or even a high school and you've got a football field or a baseball field that doesn't have internet on it, now what I can do is have a camera going into the P3, and I can bring that signal into my whole workflow. Something else that I want to highlight here is the Cube R1 recorder system. You know, that lets you record all those NDI video signals, the ones you want, directly to the device so you have them for later. That could be ISO streams, your finished output, it could be for playback. I think that device doesn't get enough credit. In a school, I think it's phenomenal. And the other thing that I want to mention with schools that I love about your products is that a decoder can be used to put video in any lecture center auditorium that you want just by plugging into the wall through PoE. So you're using the internet that's already in your buildings. You know, you got to be CAB 6, CAB 5 plus, you know, CAB 6 now. So if you're an older school that's got CAB 3 or 4, you need to upgrade. But I think you knew that already before you even started watching the program. But with a modern network topography, any room that has a network jack can now have video going in or produce video out for our workflow. Let's talk about one that you have internal communications like lecture capture and stuff like that, because you guys have some cool stuff with that.
Yeah, so this part I think is a little bit simplified workflow. Probably we go out with the production, but for all the campus internal communication, as we always mention, you know, there might be classrooms doing all those kind of lectures, or you know, if we have any specific studios for recording the classes, or there will be any kind of sports live events, whatever. For the internal departments, if you really want to check what's happening inside of the campus, or if it's just for monitoring, for centralized switching or centralized control, all those signals, and managing, delivering which signal to which room, for the auditorium room, for the ballrooms, or whatever. So using NDI, we can easily bring all those signals into the same platform, and using what we are showing, the Cube X1, you know, that can centralizedly getting all the signals in, and we can easily routing the signals to whatever destinations. And also, exactly as what you are talking, you know, either if you already have any kind of existing systems that can receive, or you don't, but just have a display, easily getting a decoder, and you can bring the signals to wherever you want. So that means, you know, we can seamlessly get the videos covering the whole campus whenever you are, or whatever signals you want to distribute using NDI, using the IP solutions.
So, G, I want to ask you a little question that's kind of off the presentation, but it ties in. That is, I know in higher ed there's media management systems for lecture recording and streaming and stuff like Panopto and Kaltura. Do you guys have any plans to supporting those platforms in the future? Because I really think your products would fit in great with them.
You mean for the centralized controlling?
Yeah, to work with like Kaltura and Panopto specifically.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, we previously had kind of investigation what those platforms look like, and I think most importantly is just like metadata fitting the standards. So that's exactly what we can do. We are on these steps to, you know, gradually adding all those features. And with NDI right now, NDI also can, you know, with the 6.1, 6.2 metadata is also included. So I think that can help us to fit into those kind of platforms better.
Yeah, and once again, the controlling classrooms on multiple campuses or multiple buildings within a campus, that's really where AV over IP shines. And you're right, with NDI 6.2, it's really become more than just local. Now it's actually bridges outside. So cool point on that. You guys did a whole school in Beijing, and we love, you know, when we can have case studies. Now, we'd love to go interview the people about the school in Beijing to be on the show, but I have a feeling their English might not be so good. So yours is. So why don't you tell us about that install and what went down? Because I just want to, you're talking about 40 decoders, 6 encoders, NDI recorders, PTZ cameras. This was really a large scale enterprise level, installation. It's a phenomenal case study.
Yeah, we tried to find a case study from the US, but unfortunately we didn't really. I know we have a lot of applications, but unfortunately we didn't get the permission to share. So what we're sharing is maybe we can share what the education and all those campus, the video systems look like in China. But to be honest, the Chinese education market, it probably would be the #1 market. Or we say, most advanced technologies in China, because the government really invested a lot of money in those campus and schools. So for this case study, actually is the new campus, and the government, the education, the schools belongs to government. And initially, when they started designing the school, they wanted everything to be dynamic and also, digitalized kind of environment. And they want every corner of the school that can really have the real-time broadcast and, just either is a kind of ceremony, a lecture, or any kind of events, whatever. They want to have the real-time just broadcast inside of the campus, every corner. So when we started to design the system for them, we're thinking what would be the best way. And if it's just the local, then we definitely think NDI would be the best solution. So that's why we choose all those NDI products and help them to manage the whole ecosystem that can easily bring the videos converted into NDI and using like our media gateway to simultaneously do those kind of streaming and also distribution. And as you mentioned, there are more than 40 decoders. So all those 40 decoders are placing in different classrooms and also the halls. So easily, after all those kind of either, we manage centralized routing the signals to whatever room, then we can easily manage all those things, or we can get the signals just delivered to wherever it is. And even they put a kind of production system, although it's not Kiloview production system, but it's a kind of NDI-based production system. So if there are any kind of events or whatever, they can, after the production, they can do the live streaming using the media gateway products and simultaneously distribute all those live events to all the classrooms inside of the campus. So that's exactly a kind of, we say, very modernized installation in the education applications.
I think one of the coolest things about being NDI and AV over IP is you can go from any classroom to any auditorium, from any auditorium to any classroom. It's not one to all or all to one. You can get any level of where you want the stuff to go. So you can have one thing playing in the hallways where something else is in the classroom while you're doing something in the studio, while you're recording something, and they all integrate beautifully together. Let's just oversimplify and just go over a workflow overview. We can bring this up full screen. This is getting back to the basics of just how AV over IP works with Kiloview.
Yes, so this actually shows the very basic workflow. So capture the signals using an encoder to convert into NDI, or if you are using an PVZ camera already have NDI, then directly we can go through the media gateway for either the distribution, or we can do the live streaming through the same product. So that will offer the customers in the education in schools, there will be a kind of easy to use. So it's just very easy to start. So you just use all those kind of converters with NDI auto discovery, and you just plug in going to the netgear switch and it's just plug and play. So for all those kind of operators, even it's just, it's if once everything is settled, everything is done, and all the Kiloview products can be centralized managed through the Kilolink Server Pro, which means we will be easily to check the status. We can easily update the products if any further updates from Kiloview, and also easily we can manage, change the settings. So that means for all the operators, they don't really need to do anything, but the technical department, they can manage everything centralizedly without going from one classroom to another. And of course, with NDI, easily, flexibly, just as you mentioned, we can get the signals from one point to all the others, or we can, multiple to multiple. So there will be quite a lot of benefits going through this kind of workflows.
I love the Kiloview stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to go into some products, but before we do, I want to stress it again that if you're going to build an NDI or an AV over IP workflow, you want to get the right switch, and the Netgear AV over IP switches are our #1 NDI solution. But I also want to stress that, something that you mentioned that I don't think we give enough credence to is a lot of your products get features that get added over time as firmware gets updated. So when you get the product today, it's going to grow with you forward. This isn't a product that just sits there static. Now, obviously, some products reach the end of life or where they're pushing whatever the electronics are inside. But I know like the 60s, I think we've had 3 or 4 major firmware upgrades that have added some really great features. And those features are coming from end user requests. And a lot of those end users are in the education space. Isn't that true?
Yeah, sure. So just like our N60s, initially it's just an NDI encoder, and further we supported the SRT, and then we get a RTMP, RTSP, and all those kind of features in. And once NDI 6 is ready, we get NDI 6 supported, so it can do HDR with very high image quality, and also we get NDI bridge inside. So although we keep updating our products, and as we are always mentioning, using Kiloview, you can always get surprised from us by our updates.
Cool. Now, this next group is top picks, but these aren't your top picks of just Kiloview products. We really thought, what are the best things for education, especially a larger educational deployment that's, say, campus, school, building or campus-wide. So let's go over this 4 top picks. We started talking about the N50 and the N60 a little bit. Let's talk about the P3 G5 wireless bonding encoders, because I think those were, we got to give those a little more love, because those really let you go from using cellular connected to a device into NDI, and they just work great.
Yeah, so the P3, as it can use the cellular network, so that means, you can go anytime, anywhere for the streaming, and easily you can put a few network SIM cards inside, and if there is any Wi-Fi covered in the campus, you can also use the Wi-Fi. So we can make sure the very reliable transmission, while at the same time, we can make sure of the image quality transmitting. So either if it's just for the field sports, or if it's just any kind of remote transmission, going through our Kilolink server, as we mentioned, as a bonding server, you can directly getting all the videos through the server and streaming directly to any of the live streaming platforms, or you can send it back to your production systems and NDI production systems. Or we can also do the SRT transmission. So if you have multiple campus, you can also use the P3 to do that. So with the P3, we will be able to get both SDI or 4K HDMI inputs, multiple network, modularized design, so you can choose how many modems you use, how many network you want to use, and most importantly, we offer the bonding service for the bonding server software for free. So that means inside of your campus, your school, you can set up your own server without going to cloud, going to any of the third party, or you subscribe for bonding service. Everything owned by yourself, and this is totally all managed by yourself. It's your own server that we don't actually use or cost anything. We charge anything.
And Judy, for schools, I want to go into that a little bit, because one of the things that's important is you can run the server in the cloud, if you want to. You guys offer that, or you can run it on premise. And I know a lot of schools have concerns with privacy and want to control that stuff and what their own, rules are with stuff like that. So they can put it on premise if they want, or they can host it in the cloud. It's equally as easy. It's equally as free. So, we can't get better than that. You do have to pay for your data. I next want to go into like the Cube X1, but you know what? I really would put the X1 and the R1 as a tie because I think they both are important. Go into what the Cube X1 and R1 do specifically for a large educational deployment.
Yeah, exactly. So the Cube X1 normally is for a little bit larger applications. If you have multiple NDI signals in and you have multiple we say the destinations or the points you want to receive the signals, and going through the like multicast, or you rely too much on the network. Sometimes it's not so easy to manage, and sometimes it's not so reliable, considering of the bandwidth and all those things. So getting a Cube X1 in the middle, so we can seamlessly switching all the sources from one source to another destination, and everything can centralized managed through a control panel, and through the unit you will be able to see all those signals. It's not just if it's just going through the network for multicast, you cannot really see those videos, but going through the Cube X1 you can really see all those previews. You can see which signals sending to which destinations. Very easy to operate all through the touch screen and all those physical patterns. So I think for maybe not really very large, but medium size or relatively large scale production or those kind of transmission, you putting a Cube X1 in the middle that can really save your life. You can easily manage routing, control, and do a lot of things. And even we can set the automatic switching between the sources. So you get a playlist in the middle and then automatically switching from this source to another. That can manage quite a lot of different use cases.
And one of the things I want to stress is Judy's using the term middle because that's really what it becomes, the centralized hub for all your routing. But it could be anywhere on the network. It's not like you have to design the whole network around putting this in a room. It could be in a closet, in a classroom, in an administrative NOC, in a network IT office, or in the studio. Wherever you want to put it, it can go and all the signals will route through it. And it's a great place for control. I love the screen because I can see the video, make sure that it's playing right and everything's working. And if I'm in that role of the IT administrator for the video portion now, if I was going to do that in the old days, we would have to run cabling into that room and have multi-viewers and all that. There's a little self-defined box that lets me at any time see anything that's going on the network over NDI or AV over IP. It's super easy to configure and use. It's really an appliance, a tool for larger rollouts. Obviously, if you're a studio with 3 cameras and that's all you're doing, you don't need something like this. This is really when you're multiply deploying AV over IP and NDI throughout an enterprise. Judy, we're getting to the end of the show, and I want to thank you. You did a great job, and I think we really talked about education. Now I want to talk about why Kiloview for education. I want to start by saying you guys have top products that work great out of the box, that have tremendous reliability. Our returns from you guys are practically zero. Your quality control is phenomenal. But also, I think you guys have really put an emphasis on making your interfaces easy to use, which in a lot of times in a school situation, we're going to have some volunteers or students involved. So just kudos on that. But you can go through your own pitch because it's your deck. But I had to mention the things that I love about your stuff first.
Yeah. You have already mentioned the quality side and also the easy to use. And from Kiloview side, as you mentioned, we have already got a lot of use cases in the classrooms, in the campuses for education applications. We totally understand what the customers needs and all those functions. So just for example, for our encoders, we simultaneously support the recording, and for all those kind of operations, we support. We're trying to get as much functions as possible in the same units. And of course, as we mentioned, easily we can fit into the existing IT systems. So it's just plug and play, and all DHCP and all those things, very easy to start with. And also, of course, I think that's also the benefit of using IP. So it's scalable, it's future ready. So right now, if you are starting with 1 room or 2 rooms, and then further you can still expand. And with Kiloview, we can easily bring all those kind of systems together. Even right now, you are just starting 1 or 2, and you can do more in the future. All through our ecosystem, everything can be combined together, and everything can be centralized control. So yeah, that's what we think. You can trust Kiloview with all those kind of solutions.
I agree, and I love this slide. Let's revolutionize together. Talk about that, because you guys are more than just products. You're a company that stands behind your workflows and offers workflow support. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So kind of a solution in the future, we are always thinking about getting more features fitting into those kind of different industries. So we will be able to help you understand what's your needs. We have the professional engineers to help you with the designing. We have a lot of use cases, references, so we can always give suggestions. And also, if you want to start with any of the products, no matter it's the P3 Mini or whatever, we offer all the demo units through our distributors and partners. And yeah, of course, if you want to get any kind of support, you want to check any details, always we are here to support.
Judy, we thank you so much. I think a great show that we really went into, how your products are more than just in a classroom. They're throughout a whole campus, throughout a whole big enterprise level educational layout. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to EduStream. I think we had another great 3 days of learning and stuff like that. Judy, I always like to say at the end of the show, give my guests, the last word. So anything you want to go on to about EduStream, about Kiloview, about your products, about something new that's coming out, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Gary.
All right, we nailed it. A great show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to EduStream. This is our biggest EduStream ever. The numbers are phenomenal. If you have any specific questions about Kiloview or any of the products you've seen on EduStream, give us a call, 800-323-2325, or you can send an email to the folks at Kiloview, info@kiloview.com. Thank you very much. We're going to have some great prizes and other stuff. Judy, thank you so much for a great segment. As always, Kiloview, NDI, AV over IP. Let's revolutionize together.